Hi there. So I haven't been able to post a video on YouTube for 2 weeks because I got a strike on my last video when I was just randomly talking. Apparently, me having a conversation is, I say things that are strike worthy. Anyhow, so I thought I would do a teaching video of sorts because I had someone ask me how to do a protection spell, candle spell. And that's the only kind of spell that I ever mess with. I'm not somebody that does like mixing herbs and ingredients and potions and stuff like that. I'm also not somebody that does, things like with individual circumstances. Like I'm not going to cast a spell for you to fall in love with somebody, or nor do any kind of baneful magic, like to wish ill will on someone. We're a collective consciousness, so to wish ill on others is essentially harming yourself. I mean, I would consider black magic or dark magic when you try to make the universe bend to your will, or when you try to take away someone else's free will. So, like, I've done binding spells before to keep people from, harming me further, but as far as trying to alter someone else's actions, I don't feel like that's my place. Okay. So, I typically wish just for, my intentions are just for protection, returning things to sender, and I have had confirmation, huge confirmations before that they do work, many of my spells. Yeah. And the thing is, you can't assume how spiritually protected someone is in this life. Like, just because, you know what I'm saying? Like, your homeless guy on the street may have way more power, spellcasting wise, than the, rich guy that owns a company, because spiritually, that homeless man is on a much higher frequency and level, and it's actually the world that is, this matrix that tries to break those on an extremely high level down, and they end up in unfortunate situations. Like, anyways, so now this is just an example. It's not exactly how I would do things. Like, I'm not going to show you my entire process, and I'm not going to say absolutely every single thing that I would say out loud, because I feel that you should never give out your whole process, or your whole, especially the words that you speak, your spell. Because every time that we speak something aloud, that is a spell, okay? It's not just like casting something like this. The reason that spell casting is done, though, is like, because if I'm just saying, if I'm just going down the street and I'm like, I wish that people would become more aware of what's going on in reality, okay? That intention has been put out into the ether, and like that spell has been cast, per se. Like, my wish is out there. But if I do a ritual with it and set aside dedicated time and energy, instead of just saying it in passing, it intensifies that desire. And everything starts out as a thought or an idea, and like when we write something out on paper, or when we physically bring our intention out orally or with a ritual and repetition, it helps things manifest. It's bringing something out of the spiritual into the physical. And, so I am going to do a candle spell for protection. And this is modeling clay. I wrap it around my candles to get them to stand up because I don't have a. I want to make me a little candle stand out of modeling clay or something that like I actually bake and I can clean off because the wax gets on it. But I haven't decided yet. Anyhow, so I got a little tray here. This is just a canvas pendulum board that I painted, and it has a circle on it. And I can't, I've got a table that I use normally, but I couldn't figure out how to get the candle to where it was at an angle that you all could see and all that, so. And I like to have videos where I teach some people how to do stuff like this so that I can reference it in the future if they stay up. I think this one will stay up. I want to redo the one that I have on here on the Demiurge and the Saturn Moon Matrix because I know that my view is different. I have been shown some additional things. I might refilm that one soon. I gotta rewatch it. I might not rewatch it. I might just redo one on the Demiurge. Okay, so here I have 3 candles. We got black for protection. Yellow is also protection, mental clarity, and strength. And then we got green for health and prosperity and abundance. Now, I guess I'll just intend this one to be for me personally. Sometimes I would do it for the whole realm or for me or my family or for, you know, if I was trying to help send protection to a particular person or something, I would do that. I've been known to do that. And I don't consent to any energies other than energies of the highest and greatest good for myself and humanity to be present anywhere in or around my vessel or the circle or in this personal space. So, as far as these candles, you can get, because one thing that people complain about as far as spell casting is that it's expensive and all that stuff and everything, and I get it. I'm totally, like, I don't have a lot of money, but I'm cheap anyways. Even when I did have money, I was still cheap. Not cheap, I wouldn't call it cheap, frugal, because I will pay for, like, better quality stuff like that. But anyways, you can get a box of like 20 candles for like $15. And everything else here I literally had in my house except for, modeling clay, but you can get a package of that for a couple dollars too. Now, if I were doing a return to sender, that's one of the other spells that I do. And if I do that, if I do return to sender, I typically use red because red's for action. And you would carve the word return in it, flip the candle upside down because you're wanting to send it back. Like, so you cut off part of it till the wick's exposed and burn it upside down. And then you can put it on a mirror to also reflect it back. You can put any of them on a mirror, like if you're trying to send it somewhere or something, like it can amplify it if you're trying to send it, away. But if I'm just trying to do something for me, I'm not going to put it on a mirror. And I don't know that these are hard-pressed set rules. It's just intuitively what I do, okay? And I would encourage you to do the same. It's really more about the intention and the act of doing it versus, following the absolute proper protocol, etc., etc. Now, so the first thing that I do is you want to gather all your supplies. You want to have everything together before you sit down and start, okay? And then you'll cast the circle. You don't have to cast a circle, but typically it's best to cast a circle. I form a circle with salt This is just pink Himalayan salt. You can get a whole huge bottle for a few dollars at the grocery store or whatever. So I've got a circle here, and then when you cast the circle, you call in all 4 elements. So you have a physical marker for the elements. Now I myself use crystals, okay, because I am a crystal collector, and so that's what I do. But you don't have to do that. Like for air, people often use incense, a feather. Water, you could use an actual chalice of water. Fire, you could use a candle. And I've seen incense used for both fire and air. And then earth, you could do a rock, salt, a crystal, something like that. So, all right. So for me, for this, I'm going to do clear quartz for air. Clear quartz substitutes in magic. Clear quartz substitutes for any crystal that you don't have. So if you are trying to do magic on a budget, get you some clear quartz, and then that can suffice. And then for fire, I often use fire agate or carnelian. They remind me of fire. And then for air, I like this blue apatite. It reminds me of water. Larimar is another one I use. And then for earth, I've got petrified wood. This rainforest, jaspers, earthy. You know, they just kind of remind me of each element. And then, so you will call in the elements to help you cast this spell and cast this circle. And so you just speak aloud that, you know, element of air, will you please assist me in casting this spell of protection, something like that. And then you sit for a minute with whatever it is that you are using as the marker, and you envision, you know, air enveloping you, things like that. Air is east, so you put it wherever east is in your actual physical location. So where I am, east is this way. So east goes here on my circle. Okay. So it looks weird, you know, probably, but okay, so then fire is south. And so then you do the same thing. You call in fire, you know, will you assist me, etc., etc. Then water is west, and you envision the water enveloping you, will you assist me? And then north is earth, you know, element of earth, will you please assist me in casting this spell of protection? You can envision yourself, you know, being in the sand, on the dirt, on the earth, etc. Then I ask all 4 elements, you know, please be present here with me to cast this spell. Close this circle between earth and air. Do not let my hands or my arm interfere or break the circle, you know. And then you actually, before you light the candle, so at this point you're ready to light the candle. You're ready, and when you light the candle, you cast the spell. But you want to sit and meditate for a minute and like envision. I envision a dome over this, and the energy builds up while the fire is burning. And then when I open the circle at the end is when the spell is released into the ether. After you've sat for a while, you know, and you've envisioned it and you're satisfied, then you light the candles. And then after the candles burn all the way down, and go out by themselves, is how I do it. You open the circle. So let's say we've burnt this whole thing and the candles have burnt down, and so we're done, okay? So you you want to open the circle. You know, I've envisioned this dome over. I'm going to open this dome up. So essentially, you just get back around your, you know, altar here, and I typically just, you know, say thank you elements for assisting me with this spell. I'm going to now open the circle. Then you would pick up each individual element starting with north and go back around, and, you know, thank you earth for assisting me with this, you know, spell, and, you know, I appreciate you. I appreciate the life-giving sustenance that you give me. You know, till next time. Something like that. And then you go around the circle and open, you know, dismiss each of the elements. You know, you don't want to just like let them burn out and just like leave it. You know, I mean, that's not exactly right. I suppose that you could, well, you could set intentions for however you wanted to do it. But anyways, this is how I do a candle spell. If you do not resonate with some of the advice that I have given here, feel free to, you know, let me know how you do it, or just completely disregard it. Have a great day.